Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Illustrated Insights channel. My name is Jenny D, and today I'm going to be creating a gratitude page. I'd also like to invite you to our challenge to create your own gratitude page. Watch to the end of the video if you'd like to join. This will be open until the end of September. If you're watching this after September, you can still join in the challenge. Just go to our Facebook group and you can upload your page for everybody to see. But for now, let's get my page started. I really hope things are going well for you wherever you are in the world. But things have been a little bit rough for us here at the moment, so I thought it'd be a really good idea to focus on some gratitude. I'm going to do a gratitude page, just a single page spread in my larger A4 art journal. Now, whenever I have some leftover paint, rather than wasting it, I just spread it out onto a blank page of my art journal. That means that when I come back to use that page, it's not blank anymore, so I don't have that white page fear. And it also gives me a jump off start to choose colours because there's already some colour there. All I had to do was dig out some other blues and a little bit of purple, and this time I'm using some Jo Sonja's Flow Medium just to try and make my paint go a little bit further and spread a little bit easier. I'm going to give myself a coloured background to work on, so I just flick the acrylic paint using some of the Flow Medium across my page, and I let the colours mix on the page. This gives it a lot more interest, and it's also quite easy to do. I'm using quite a cheap brush with very stiff bristles. This also helps me move the paint around and so that it doesn't blend too smoothly on my page. While we watch me put this background in, let's have a little chat about gratitude. When I'm feeling down, gratitude is one of the best ways to lift my spirits. To quote Dr. Tiffany Sauber Malachi, gratitude changes your perspective of your world. Gratitude turns what little you have into abundance. If you'd like to read that article in Positive Psychology, I'll leave the link for you in the description. How about you? Do you practice gratitude? Do you make gratitude art journal pages? Even if you've never made any kind of creative journal page in your life, I'd like to invite you to a challenge. We're going to continue our gratitude practice for next week, and I'd love to be able to include some images of gratitude pages that you have created. It doesn't have to be really involved, it doesn't even have to be an art journal page. What we really want is to get as many people as we can using gratitude as a prompt to make creative journal pages. You don't have to do what I've done here today. You don't have to use paints or inks. Just use what you have and make a page in your style. Then take a photo, upload it to our Facebook group, that's linked in the description, and let's get a conversation started. I can't wait to see what you make, but let's get back to this page and finish it off. I want this page to dry quickly and really well because I'm about to put some white ink splatters on top, and I don't want the paint to mix with the ink. I'm using some white Pinata ink, so I decant it into a spray bottle. I was fairly careful about how I sprayed it, so I didn't worry too much about covering things up. But I did spray a little bit too much, so I needed to wipe that back a little bit. But it's funny how these things turned out because I did actually like it better after I'd pulled it back a little bit. But I did spritz a few more little splashes in there. This ink isn't opaque, so it won't dry as solid white as it goes down. And just a little tip, if you clean out your spray bottles with isopropyl alcohol as soon as you've finished, then it'll be good to go the next time with no clogging. Just put some alcohol or some cleanup solution into the bottle and keep spraying it until there's nothing left. It'll clean your nozzle nicely. This time I want all of my journaling to be on top of the background. And I'm going to use a black ink pen, so I'll let my background dry really well before I do that. In the meantime, I make some other elements for my page. I have lots of gel prints that I use as collage papers. So I'm going to make myself a woven heart using these collage papers. The first step is to make myself lots of strips of the collage paper, and I'm just using the ruler to help me rip these pages into strips. I'm going to start by weaving a square. So to do that, I get some of the strips and I tape the ends onto the table. Then I weave the strips over and under until I've woven myself a square. Of course, I have to move the strips now and again to make sure I've got a nice tight weave. Once I've got the woven square about the size I want it, I make 2 squares on a piece of card around about the same size of the square. Then I fold one of the squares in half. I draw half a heart on one side of the square. Then I cut out the half a heart, fold the card in half, and follow the shape I've made to make my heart symmetrical on the other side. Now I've got a great heart template that I can trace onto the second piece of card. Then I turn this card with the heart shape on it over, apply plenty of glue and stick down my woven square. I'm going to let that dry really well in the sun. In the meantime, I'm going to use some letter stamps to stamp a title onto my coloured background, which is now really dry. You can see in the background that I actually tested these words were going to be okay before I stamped it onto my page. Even then, I still had to fix up some individual letters which hadn't stamped as well as I wanted. Once the heart was really dry, I took a pair of scissors and I can follow the guideline on the back to cut out my heart shape. I used an old brush and some gloss medium to give my heart a nice glossy look to it, and this also meant that I can check that everything's glued down nice and secure. I gave it a really good dry with my heat gun so that it wouldn't stick to anything when I turned it over. I'm going to use gloss medium to stick it into my journal, but first I get some leftover strips from that weaving and I glue those in with some gel medium just to give myself a little bit of a border for the heart. I want to tie this page into the one beside it, which has lots of these lovely circles and swirls. So I grabbed some mark making tools, these are just children's sponges and some of the colours that I used before, to make some dots in acrylic paint. And this is a terrific little mark making tool which I also got from a children's set, and I can make these fabulous little dot patterns just by pressing it down like a stamp. Then to continue the theme from the other page, I used a fine black marker to make lots of those lovely little circles that are a standout element from the other page. Using repetition like this is a really easy way to make things look good together. And now it's time to journal. So I'm just going to list lots of things that I'm grateful for. The paint's nice and dry, so it's easy to use this black Sharpie to write right over the top of that acrylic background. And now it's your turn. The challenge is to make a page in your own style using the prompt gratitude. And then take a photo and upload it to our Facebook group, which is of course linked in the description below. I can't wait to see what you come up with. Righto, let's have a look at my finished page. If you've enjoyed the video today, you might like to leave us a like and then maybe subscribe so you can see all the entries come in next week. See you next time.